7 months ago, Jacqueline joined her father in fleeing the extreme danger and poverty of her village in Guatemala. They fled from violence. However, Jacqueline's life was cut short in December when she died of sepsis while under the responsibility of our federal government. As a physician, I know that the inhumane conditions at our Border Patrol facilities risk the lives of children when under CBP custody.
That was California Democratic Representative Raul Ruiz on the House floor, speaking about Jacqueline Calmaquin. She's a migrant girl who died in U.S. custody back in December. She was 7. Jacqueline is one of 6 migrant children to die while in U.S. custody or shortly after being released. 5 of those children were from Guatemala, the 6th from Honduras. All were in the custody of either Customs and Border Protection or the Office of Refugee Resettlement. In response, Congressman Ruiz unveiled a bill designed to improve the medical treatment of all migrants in custody. Ruiz, who is a medical doctor, says the bill would help Customs and Border Protection meet some of the minimum standards of care that all detainees require. Earlier, my colleague Rena Ninan spoke to Congressman Ruiz about the bill.
Before entering Congress, you worked as a physician. Given your background, what you've seen so far with the care of migrants in CBP custody, what stands out to you as the most problematic?
The word to describe it is subhuman, deplorable, inhumane, and very heartbreaking to see the way that children, pregnant women, and the elderly are being treated and detained under the custody and responsibility of CBP. And what really stands out are children who don't have diapers, who are dirty, who are sick, being detained in very freezing concrete windowless rooms, and that's something that any humanitarian, any parent would be outraged with. And I'm a emergency physician, EMS specialist, as well as Harvard-trained humanitarian and public health expert. And so I worked together with other experts to introduce this bill as a response to CBP's request and as a solution to the inhumane treatment and detention that these families are experiencing.
What changes will your bill address?
Well, it takes a very comprehensive public health approach to ensure the basic humanitarian standards are met to meet basic humanitarian needs of individuals to reflect a life with dignity. For example, it ensures that the medical screening has an interview in the language that they understand, vital signs, a physical examination, and consultation with a provider who knows what a sick child looks like. It ensures that there's the basic minimum requirements of calories and water, to make sure there's formula for infants, baby food for children, to ensure that there's enough space, a minimal amount of space, but enough space per individual to have a place for them to wash their hands, diapers for babies, enough latrines for men and women. So these are just, we're not asking for a lot of or any special treatment. These are just basic necessities for a life with dignity.
You know, this does sound like basic necessities, but do you think that this bill can get support from both sides of the aisle?
I do believe this bill gets support. I've been in communication with CBP and their leadership throughout this entire process. The president has requested $3.3 billion in humanitarian aid. Well, this bill provides that roadmap, that blueprint of what exactly that money will be going towards based on basic humanitarian standards and norms in our country.
How soon do you see this passing?
I'm hoping that it will be included somehow or shape or form, at least the requirements and these standards in the next humanitarian aid package that's going to help the Border Patrol agents down in the border.
Okay, and I want to talk to you about some news of the day. CBS News counts 61 of your Democratic colleagues now support an impeachment inquiry into the president. You've got House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's maintained that Democrats have to focus on the investigation. Where do you stand, Congressman?
You know, I think it's important to have an inquiry. I think it's important that we have answers to those questions. We need to bring everything out to the light of day. It's very wrong that we are dismissive of the Russian attack on our democratic principles. It is very wrong on some of the behavior that Mueller has identified in his report, and we need to get more answers. So I support getting that answer and holding Barr and those folks who are trying to protect the president in contempt for not wanting to reveal what they know and to give us the documents in order for us to protect the Constitution and our democracy.
You know, some are saying that the Democratic caucus is divided over how to proceed with an impeachment inquiry or impeachment itself. How do you believe that the caucus is divided?
You know, I think that we're not divided in getting the sense of we need more information. Whether or not an impeachment vote will lead to the removal of the president, I think that is the question that we need to ask ourselves, and whether or not that is the right path to go towards. And I think at that point there is some differences in opinion.
You know, on another matter, the White House invoked executive privilege over materials related to the administration's push to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census. Are you concerned about the effect that the citizenship question might have on the census?
You know, yes, of course I'm concerned, because the census was never supposed to be a political tool. The census is supposed to be an accounting of the population in order to provide the resources needed for the common good for all of society. And therefore, when you start to, under an administration that has already demonstrated their contempt for immigrants, to start to provide a question that will cause a large portion of individuals to be fearful of being known, then I think that it's going to skew the numbers, and there's going to be a lot of more underserved communities across America, especially in rural areas.
You are a congressman from California. We know the state has two 2020 presidential candidates, Senator Kamala Harris as well as Congressman Eric Swalwell. Is there a Democratic candidate you're endorsing at this time?
You know, at this time, I'm not. Both Kamala Harris and Eric Swalwell are very, very, very competent legislators. I'm excited about them both. I'm excited about some of the other presidential candidates, so I'm waiting to see how it progresses.
All right, Congressman Raul Ruiz, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.